Greetings all, Raphael X here with another video. Subscribe, click on the notifications button, like button, comment, share this video, and all that good stuff. All right, let's start with a prayer. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Jesus. Sancta Maria, Mater Dei, ora pro nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Amen. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. What is the purpose of language? The purpose of language is to know the truth. And what is the truth? The truth is the conformity of my mind with what's extramental, what's outside of me. There has to be a conformity there. There has to be these two elements. It's a matrimony between subject and object. So you cannot make up words. We cannot be making up words. I cannot tell you blaga blue is something that means dear to me, therefore you have to use it. No, words have to refer to reality. They're symbols of reality, right? Or the symbols of ideas, which ideas come from reality. So the words have to go back to reality in order for me to use them and for having other people to use them, right? So when you have these pronouns like Caesar, all these other genders, if there's no corresponding reality that people can perceive, accessible to everyone, then we cannot make up words. We make up words, we know we control minds. We all know, or we should know, the Orwellian 1984, the dystopian novel, excellent. Read it for sure. It's very illuminative now. So why am I mentioning this? Because today, the Webster dictionary has fallen into wokeism, which is extreme political correctness, which actually was used by Lenin. It was first used by Lenin and Stalin. Well, before Stalin, Lenin used it. He was the first one to use, and Mao too, Mao Zedong also in China. They were the first ones to use the term political correctness to form a language in order to form the ideology, to change minds, right? If you have control of words, you have control of ideas, right? That is obvious. So we're seeing that now. It starts with the words. So check this out. Let me share my screen. It's a short article, and I'm going to share my screen here about the Webster dictionary now changing the definition of female. Here it is. Webster changes the definition of female. Keep your old dictionaries, people. Keep your old dictionaries. Let's go through this article. Merriam-Webster online dictionary has caved to the trans agenda. Remember, changing of words always has an agenda. In order to appease woke activists, the dictionary publisher has added a secondary definition of female that defines the term as having a gender identity that is the opposite of male. So they're defining it by what it's not, by its opposite. Does this make any sense at all? They don't want to positively define it, so they want to negatively define it, pointing to its opposite. But it makes no sense because what is the definition of a male? Are you going to put the same thing, having a gender identity that's opposite to a female? This is actually very misogynistic, because the definition of female is built off of what is not a male, the opposite of a male. It has no definition of itself. It has no content in itself. It's no substance. It's just what is it, the opposite of male? And this, I'm interested to see what is the definition of a male. There's nothing. It still has the traditional definition of a man. The key term here is gender identity, which demonstrates that Merriam-Webster maintains that gender is not directly connected to sex. This is a total novel idea. A female is a woman. Trans identifying males are not female. However, according to trans activists, men can be women, right? Trans women are women. Totally absurd. And this is Orwellian. War is peace. You remember all those oxymorons? What was the other one? was it richness is poverty or justice is slavery? I forget what the other ones were, but the war is peace. That's the common. That's the all these oxymorons. And these people think they're being profound, but they're denying the fundamental principle of non-contradiction. Something can be and not be at the same time in the same sense. Right? I can't say I am Cuban. I am not Cuban. They both can't exist at the same time, right? In the same sense. This is not the only part of the definition that has changed in the online edition of Merriam-Webster. Notice the primary definition of female, of relating to or being the sex that typically has the capacity to bear young or produce eggs. This is the primary definition. In Merriam-Webster's 10th edition, the dictionary defines the noun female as of relating to or being the sex that bears young or produces eggs. The change in the online edition to include the phrase typically has the capacity shows Merriam-Webster's attempt to include trans-identifying males in the definition of female. Now, this argument does not hold weight to say that, oh, not all female, we can't define females as the capacity to produce eggs because not all females have it. Okay, that is true. Not all females have it, but they don't have it because as a privation, they don't have it. What does it mean by privation? That they're due that perfection, they're due that power as a female. A female, by definition, is right, has a power to produce, to bear young and produce eggs. If they don't have it, that's a privation. Privation is due to their nature. It's like if I was born with one eye. You don't say, oh, human beings have two eyes. Well, not everyone has two eyes. Therefore, human beings don't have two eyes. Human beings do have two eyes. If they were to have one eye, that would be a privation, something that is due to them, but they lack. You see, so it's they don't understand this basic philosophical concept. The change in the online, I read that, typically is the capacity. While this phrase may refer to women who cannot bear children due to infertility, given their nod to gender identity in defining the word female, it is most likely another way to appease the trans community. Ironically, the kids' definition of the adjective female in the online edition remains the original one, of relating to or being the sex that bears young or lays eggs. Strange. We are at the point, oh, the kids don't know, right? The adults or superior knowledge, right? Totally the opposite. We are at a point when the children's definition of a word is the real definition, while the adult definition is politicized nonsense. The insanity continues. The left understands the importance of controlling language. Once one controls language, one can shift the culture to one's will. And this is the culture war. And that's why cultural and social issues are winning political issues. They are winning political issues, right? God essentially gave us speech in order for us to know the truth. But the left today are using speech, are abusing, I should say, speech in order to promote their falsehoods, their evil, right? Through language. It is the antichrist of language, anti-Christian language. Unfortunately, there is no end in sight until a major cultural shift takes place that dispels the commonly held misconception that men can turn into women and vice versa. Absolutely absurd. All right, so I stop sharing here. Yes, I did stop sharing. So what is a definition anyway? A definition talks about essential characteristics. Do every single individual have those essential characteristics? No. Right? Not necessarily. Not necessarily. A female is, right, does produce eggs. Does every single female produce eggs? There are exceptions to the rule. Does that mean they're not female? No. Because they have there's a privation there, something that's due to them. So a definition is not merely a description. A definition talks about the essential aspects of something, right? If I talk about what is a man? A man is according to the traditional definition, a rational animal, because he has that immaterial aspect of soul and the material aspect of the body and the animality, we can say. Rational animal, right? Everything has a definition because things that exist have essences, have whatnesses to them. A what, when you ask for what is a thing, you're talking about its nature, its essence. And that is what a definition is, right? So a definition is, I don't want to get into too much into it, but it's a genus, right? It's a general category of something, and it's a specific difference. So we're animals, but the specific difference of rational animals. For example, you can say a lion is a cat, and then a certain type of cat, right? They usually give it the technical name in Latin and all that stuff. So it's a genus, a group, and then a specific difference that defines that, right? So, well, defining woman by what she does, what she produces, we can say that's a property. There's an essential property. Of course, all men are rational animals, but if we're going to define something by their property, by what they do, you can say a human is one that speaks, right? Do all men speak? No, not necessarily, right? But that would be as a privation, right? Because they ought to speak, right? So that would be a legit definition, not a perfect definition. So there is a definition of female. There is a reality of female, right? We could define her as what she does, as her goal, right? Essentially, as a woman, as it is in reality, right? It's so fundamental; it's hard to argue. These are realities that are immediately known. You can't. It's almost like because you can't always just argue something infinitely ad infinitum. It ultimately has to rest on first principles that are immediately evident. You say, if you don't accept this, then what are we going to do? If you don't accept 2 + 2 = 4, how can you even have a discussion? You have to accept basic principles. But these people deny all unchanging reality, any type of definition to things, which is absurd. I do want to show you this, this always kind of makes me laugh. I love using politically correctness against those who promote political correctness. Let me share this screen, and this is going to be here. Share this, not this Zoom one, this one. This is hilarious. I love politically correct monsters. Rather, we should call them aggressively challenged individuals. There's a lot of this. There's books written on these phrases. So vampire, instead of vampire, let's call them living impaired hemoglobin enthusiast. Frankenstein. Biologically regenerated terror provider. And the werewolf. A lunar initiated transfigurement activist. I think I mentioned in other videos too, in the army, they used to, if you call somebody fat, or they wouldn't call you fat, they would say, no, you're horizontally challenged, or vertically challenged if you were short. All right, so I'll leave it at that. Nice short video for now. And that's it. And God bless you all. Fight for the culture. First of all, pray to our Lord Jesus Christ through his blessed mother. But pray for the culture and be a culture warrior. Stand up for what is right. Use your freedom of speech. It's good to use, sometimes it's good to use veiled language. Like when you go to a funeral, you don't say, I'm going to give respects to the body, to the corpse. We do say, I'm going to pay my respects to the remains. But sometimes veiled language jeopardizes the truth, and that's what political correctness does. And we should not give in to political correctness, not at all, because truth exists, unchangeable natures exist, essences, and we should live by them, knowing them, right? Socrates and all the traditional Greek philosophers, the majority of them, philosophy initiates here, they sought the definition of things. What are things? Right? Let me conform to what things are. Now we want to invent things. No, let us conform, right? Always conform to reality. All right. Well, God bless you all. Take care, and till next time.